Jake likes machine guns.
I like machine guns. Welcome to episode 17. I can't believe that.
We're still here.
We are still here. We've never moved. We've got Sean Whalen with us today. Welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
What would be the best way to describe you? Life coach?
Sure. We'll roll with that. Whatever you want.
Entrepreneur.
Dad, patriot, freedom lover.
Man.
Savage.
I like all those. Those will work.
Could I say, what's the word? Toxic masculinity, male?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, I said
whether
it.
you're full of shit and wrong is a completely different story. But
We're not being graded on this. There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, well, that's a wrong answer. Toxic masculinity is... If we want to go down that rabbit hole, we can. But
no, it was just a joke. Let's not. Let's start this off.
I'm gonna fire
nice.
up my tank and cause some destruction here in a second.
That's what I'm talking about. Violence.
Violence.
Yes.
I like it. I like violence.
Nature. Yeah, my dad used to always say, you can be sincere about something, but you can also be sincerely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, before we really get rolling, I'd like to take a moment. I think it's apropos to thank our sponsor. Smart Water's back.
Whoa.
Delicious. There's little sayings on it. Fish through the water.
You guys have a water sponsor?
Yeah, we actually have two of them, and the Arrowhead people have been nothing but good to us.
I need to raise my game a little bit and get some sponsors.
Yeah, well, it's crazy that we get a sponsor with, what are we at now, Rich, for listener
We're over
count?
50 for sure.
We are over 50, so probably 51 or 3.
Yeah.
Views or downloads?
Listeners.
Nice.
Yeah.
Total.
I dig it. I could do that.
Sean's I'm ready to go home now.
We added up across all platforms.
Podcasts are fun, man. Sitting down shooting the shit is just fun. But
It is.
give a shout out to your sponsors. Your mom, wife.
Pure crisp taste that hits you smack in the gills.
Boom.
Little hidden marketing message there.
That's why we love the Smart Water support.
Sean, don't worry. We have a lot more than 50 listeners.
No, we don't.
You will after this one. People will be like, that fucking guy, why'd you have him on?
Yeah, I could foresee you raising us up deep into the 50s.
57, for sure.
I was going to say 6, but 7 would be awesome.
Yeah.
You've got to start somewhere.
Sean, you've got an awesome story. I feel like I've been living in your head at least the last week. Obviously, we're pretty busy. We get a different guest on every week, so I try to take as much time as I can to dig in. And I've known who you were for a few years now, mainly through people that we both know, like Neil over at Ready Gunner. Is probably the most common friend that we share. But for some reason, we've never run into each other. But you've got a lot of really cool, badass stuff that you got going on right now. You've got a book that our listeners can go and grab, audiobook.
And hard copy.
On
Amazon.
Make Shit Happen.
How to make shit happen. Yep.
Which is awesome. One thing that you talk about in that book that, is kind of like your way to live. That's the core 4, right?
Right.
I don't know how much you can get into that, right? You don't want to probably share too much because you want people to get the book.
I mean, you can Google it. You can buy the book, figure out my story. I was the typical guy. I made a ton of money when I was young, single mom, no dad around, and thought success looked like this: the cars, the Rolexes, the houses, the whole thing. And then when I was 30, I had a midlife crisis, if that's what you want to call it. If a midlife crisis is leaving your marriage, burning your businesses to the ground, sticking your head up your ass, and almost killing yourself, then that's what I did.
Yeah.
And kind of went on a journey. But yeah, I learned core 4, and I was that entrepreneur that was doing 20-hour days and thought that's what success was, and had to have all of these things, and turned 30, 31, and was like, what am I doing all this for?
That'll hurt you.
Yeah. So,
chaos was the word you used. Yeah.
My life was chaotic, and I ended up burning my world to the ground, and literally almost killed myself, and was in an extraordinarily dark place, and kind of took a journey to figure out why I was even here. Not like, how do I make money and build cool shit and have a good relationship, but like, why am I even on this rock? You know what I mean? That's spinning through the cosmos, and fast forward today, and here we are sitting down having a conversation.
Well, I'm glad you didn't kill yourself.
Me too. I am too.
Yeah, man, you've got quite the story. I hope that everyone goes in and grabs that book and starts there. Or you've also got a group that you can join called the Lion's Den.
Yeah. I started Lions Not Sheep a couple years ago, kind of in the midst of all of that. It was just something that came to me one day. It was just, I was looking at this magazine of this British company, and Lions Not Sheep just popped into my head. It was one of those things where it comes in and it just won't leave, and it's banging around. And I called my buddy one day, and I mean, I had spent 20 years in the real estate game and made millions of dollars in real estate. And I said, I have this saying that just came to me. I didn't have the company, nothing was formed, no website, and just Lions Not Sheep. And I went online and picked the font and had to make the t-shirt, and it became kind of my personal mantra. You know, I spent most of my life as a sheep, like following, okay, this is what success looks like, this is what this looks like, and had no personal testament to why I was doing anything. Didn't know who the fuck I was, why I was doing any of this stuff, and made this t-shirt. And as I started sharing my journey on social media, things went viral and started getting bigger and bigger. And somebody reached out and said, well, how do I get that shirt? And I called my buddy. I'm like, I don't know shit about making shirts. Can you make me a shirt? And literally we just started making these shirts and sold them on his website for over a year. You had to go to his website to find my shirt. And fast forward to today, and you know, we're doing almost $1 million a month in apparel sales.
Wow. Hell yeah.
T-shirts and everything else. So it started as my kind of internal testimony. Like, I have a choice. Like, where do I want to go? Do I want to follow everybody and follow what the masses are doing and follow what this looks like, or just do it my own way? And it's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger, and the message obviously resonates with millions and millions and millions of people. So almost a billion views in my videos on social media, and
so awesome.
You know, millions of dollars of revenue with the apparel company and coaching and groups, and a couple thousand clients around the world. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
It's been a fun journey.
One great tip for success that you brought up in your book was not being afraid to copy. And you differentiated that obviously with like, don't plagiarize and shit.
Sure.
But like, there are people out there that have struggled and have gone through and made a shit ton of mistakes.
Right.
But then they figured it out, like you did with your journey. And it's one of the best pieces of advice that's helped me further my own career is being able to look at someone else's success and taking that formula and applying it, right?
Yeah.
You applied formulas yourself and kind of made it your own, and now you're sharing it with everybody else. So it's like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, I mean, Austin Kleon, who's a phenomenal author, wrote a book called Steal Like an Artist. He talks about how, like, millions of artists have painted paintings or taken pictures of the Statue of Liberty or the Eiffel Tower, right? The Eiffel Tower is not the original piece, but it's how you perceive it and how you look at it. And so he's like, take things that work from other people and apply it to your life. And I figured that out. I was that egomaniac who's like, who's going to teach me something? I didn't believe in coaching. Tony Robbins was the woo-woo, goo-goo, you know, whatever. And it was like, why the fuck would I listen to anybody? I was a self-made millionaire. I had, you know, ego through the roof. And as I started looking around, it was like, okay, this guy's doing something that I like that I'm not currently doing. And so I'd take that. And then I would take this from this guy and then this from this guy, and you kind of put it in your own blender and figure out what works for you. And so it's one of the biggest tips and things that I coach people on is literally steal from people. You know, you don't plagiarize, but like, if you're doing something well, then I'm going to go do this. I mean, Smart Water's not the first person to put water into a fucking bottle, right? They just figured out their own shit and put their own label on it and the whole thing. So, you know, instead of trying to figure out how to make water more wet or the wheel more round, go copy what's already working, put your spin on it, and then make it yours.
That's a great philosophy.
Yeah. I mean, you guys aren't the first people to make, you know, silencers and suppressors and stuff like that. There's been people before. And so, you probably have looked at this and said, we like this about this component or this about that, but this is dog shit. So you leave the dog shit over there and you take what works and then you make it yours.
Of course. As you say that, I start to think about my life, and I'm kind of on the other end of the scale where I look for people that do things that don't work or, you know, the bad, and then try to avoid those. Yeah. Like as a pitfall. So same thing, but I work I work on the other end of the equation usually. Yeah.
But you're doing the same thing. You're like, okay, you're doing this totally wrong. I'm not going to do that. So you're literally going to copy the blueprint of don't do's the do's or whatever you want. Sure. But that's really all we're doing. And so my whole I mean, look, everybody wants the path of least resistance. Let's call it what it really is. Like
Sure.
sales, marketing, system structures. So it's like, you're doing this wrong. You're losing millions of dollars. How are you doing that? Let's not do that shit.
Yeah,
But you're doing
that's
this right.
right.
So let's come. And it's the same thing like with fitness, with relationships. You can go to the gym and sling a towel over your shoulder and say, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and start dicking around with weights. Or you can go, okay, that motherfucker's ripped. What are you doing? Like, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you eat? How do you do that? Same thing with your relationships, same thing with business, same thing with mental clarity, meditation, all of these different things. There's people already doing things that are working really, really well. Go copy that shit, you know?
Well, and you cover all of your bases with the core four. I really loved digging into that and just thinking about because as you read it, right, you begin to self-audit.
Right.
You know, what areas are lacking in my life? You know, you've got your mental, your physical, your spiritual, and your emotional. And then, I mean, I can't remember exactly the each.
Power, passion, purpose, and production. So power is your body, passion, your relationships, purpose is, your mind and your spirit, and then production is business. And everything we do in life falls into one of those categories.
Exactly. Yeah. And when certain areas lack, right, you start to to see a difference in the quality of your life.
Right.
And then revisiting that roadmap of the core four, the way you put it was, you came off track, get back on,
Right.
and you're going to be good to go.
Right.
Because in life, it's inevitable. Things are going to get out of whack.
Right.
You're going to deal with people. You're going to make mistakes. And it's just a matter of finding that map and getting back onto it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I thought that was really profound. And everyone who's listening, this could all benefit you.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter where you are in life. I mean, balance is bullshit. I don't believe in balance. It's you value what you invest in. If you value your body, you're going to invest in it. If you value your relationship, you're going to invest in it. If you value mental clarity, mental strength, mental fortitude, you're going to fucking invest in your mind. If you value your business, you're going to invest in it. So people are trying to find, how do I balance? I work really hard, but I'm never at home. Well, you don't value home. You don't value your relationships.
That's a great way to put that.
And so my whole philosophy is like, let's choose, like that's why core four is so important. Is you wake up every single day, power, passion, purpose, and production. You're investing in your mind, you're investing in your relationships, and not just like, hey, I woke up as dad, that's my investment, but purposely, intentionally driven investing in my relationships. You're investing in your business, and you're investing in, all of these aspects of life. And so most of my life, I was just in that one speed of build. I was that 25-year-old going, baby, we're going to retire by the time we're 30. And, I'm going to work these 20-hour days for 10 years, and then we'll get to this space. Well, meanwhile, my relationships were turning into shit. My body was turning into shit. My mental clarity was turning into shit, but I was making a fuck ton of money. And then all of a sudden, the wife hates you, or the kids don't even know you, or you have a fucking heart attack at 40 years old. Yep. And so my understanding and learning core four really helped me figure out how to build a map. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can say, hey, let's go to the beach, and you just start driving, and you might end up at a beach.
You might not.
It's a lot easier to say, let's go to Newport Beach, and then type it into your thing and follow the map. It's the same thing. I want to have a good relationship. Okay, what does that look like? Now let's build a map to get there. Okay, I want to go from $0 to $1 million a month of revenue. Awesome. Here's where we are. Here's where we want to go. Let's build a map to get there. Sales, process, system, structures. It's the same philosophy, and it really, for guys like, we're goers. We're quote unquote alphas, whatever the fuck you want to call us. Like, we wake up, we want to be productive. We want to build shit. You know what I mean? And sometimes that has us forgetting other aspects of life. And what core four does is it helps you see clearly how to build all of it at the same time and truly create quote unquote balance.
Well, it's full of choices too. One of my favorite things, I was fortunate to be in a pretty cool football program. My coach in football in college, he always would say, and it's a part of my voicemail now, I've just adapted it. You got to choose to make it a great day. Every day you have a list of choices to make. And like you're saying, if you're going to invest in these things that you find valuable, you got to choose to do that.
Sure.
And, there's a lot of things that can happen in a day that can make your day shitty.
Yeah.
And you have to choose whether to accept that and be a victim of it, or you have to choose to say no and move forward and have the right attitude to, I guess, conquer the day.
Yeah.
And I really like that, because it's super empowering, the things that you're teaching in your book and in this lifestyle that you've built, that it's anybody has, the resources are there. Google's free, right? If you want to do something, you can research, and equipping people with the tools and the know-how, and basically just hey, I've done it, follow this.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
map.
it doesn't, something I heard a long time ago that really stuck with me is it doesn't matter how many resources you have, it matters how resourceful you are.
That's right.
And we live in a day and age where we literally have supercomputers in our hand. There's not a question that you could come up with that can't be answered on that fucking 4-inch device.
Yes.
Nothing. From how to build a business, how to build a relationship, how to get a six-pack, how to build a gun, how to buy a tank, like how to fly to Germany, how to do everything. Every single thing is literally sitting on that
Pretty much
device.
every word mankind's ever written,
It's all there.
Find.
Right. And so people like have this victim mentality, like, oh, life's happening to me and it sucks and it's this and it's this. Like a dude in the ghetto and a dude in Beverly Hills driving a $400,000 Rolls Royce, they both have iPhones. They both have Google. They both have the exact same like resources to be able to do whatever the fuck they want with. The question is, how resourceful are you and what are you doing with it? And so my whole philosophy is going from that, self-made guy to kind of build, burning the whole thing down to now saying I can literally create whatever I want. I mean, I've been envisioning this ranch and like wanting this ranch and not just sitting there like rubbing crystals on my nipples going, dude, the ranch is I'm going to manifest the ranch into my life. Like, no, I've been working my fucking ass off. And then all of a sudden find myself standing on this 500 acres looking at my wife going, we're buying this, making an offer, paying cash, boom, done, right? I created that. I created that reality from how I got to that conversation with that agent to standing on that ledge to having the ability to write a check and buy it. I created that. And so my entire philosophy with Lions Not Sheep is helping people wake the fuck up to realize like you have the ability to go do anything you want to do. I mean, there's literally nothing stopping you right now from building a fucking machine of a body. Nothing. Literally nothing. Every workout that's ever been fucking done by man is available to you. You know what I mean?
It's true.
The difference is who's going to get up off the couch and who's going to do it. You want to literally build a business. Millions of businesses have been built from zero to millions of dollars. Go fucking copy what they're doing.
Exactly.
If a dude can make billions of dollars off of fucking pool noodles... I literally tell people this all the time. Like, you understand, somebody today is making millions of dollars selling rubber penises.
Yes, they are.
People are literally selling dildos today, making millions of dollars, and you can't figure out what to do. The market's saturated. I don't know what to do. Like, a dude was like, I'm going to just make rubber dicks. And he's making millions of fucking dollars.
Yeah.
The difference is that dude became resourceful and was like, yo, I want to figure out how to become a millionaire selling dicks.
Yeah.
And he's doing it while you're sitting around going, my life sucks. I have daddy issues. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love what you said about obesity. There's literally nothing good. You cannot think of one good reason to be obese. And I laughed out loud the other night when you were saying that because it's so true. And I was like sitting here scratching my head. I was like, I mean, I guess like if there was a good thing, it's like the fact that you just don't give a shit. You've given up and you can eat whatever you want.
Well, there's polarity in that, right? Like if you're willing to have the polarity, like this is the reason you really have to understand. Everybody wants to be in this good mindset all the time. It's not possible. I have days I want to kill everybody that I see and burn the whole fucking world down. But the reality is I'm self-aware enough to know that. Like if you're fat, being fat's a choice.
It is 100%.
Okay, being angry is a choice. Being broke is a choice.
Yeah,
You're
but
choosing
I'm
that,
big boned.
right? No, nobody's fucking big boned. You're lazy as shit. You can prove this shit scientifically however you want, but people are in their feelings and their emotions. You know what I'm saying? And social media and the explosion of this digital age has really just amplified where you are. That's all it is. It's just it's an amplifier.
That's
you know what I mean? Money doesn't make you good or bad. Money just amplifies who you are. If you're an asshole, now you're a rich asshole. If you're a good dude, now you're a rich good dude, right?
Yeah.
But people are just so stuck in their fucking emotions. And what I am kind of known for and what I really appreciate is like I had coaches that just literally and figuratively punch me in the face and like, look, wake the fuck up, bro. Like you have one shot at this game, and that's where I am now is helping people see that. And it offends a lot of people. And I really don't give a fuck because the truth is the truth. If you're obese, hugs aren't going to fucking help you get in shape. No. Somebody smacking you in the face and be like, look, you need to get your fat ass off the couch and go because you're dying and your kids are growing up. You can't even fucking walk to the mailbox without gassing out, let alone play football or coach your kids.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? And so you can take that one of two ways. You can think that I'm a dick, or you can be like, you know what, I'm going to prove that fucker wrong, or something it wakes you up and inspires you.
Yeah.
And so to me, like, that's what this game is about, man. We're getting older. We're not getting younger. Like, I'm closer to death today than I've ever been. You know what I mean? If I die at 80, I'm halfway there. And so for me, it's like every fucking day that I'm alive is a gift. What am I going to do with it? Bitch and moan and cry about yesterday or last year or people are still, it's 2000, what is it, 2021? Fucking people are still talking about the market crashing in 2008. Like, bro, that was 12 fucking years ago. What have you been doing for 12 years? Well, I lost all my money. A lot of people lost all their money. You're still broke, bitch. Like, what the fuck you been doing for 12 years?
Yeah, it's like everyone's got the friends that still talk about the glory days in high school, and they're not doing shit. Right?
I don't have any
Al
of those
Bundy.
friends. I don't have any of those friends. I can't stand hanging out with people. That's the reason to be Canada, hang out with my wife and my kids, and that's about it, because most people, truthfully, are just, they're not people I want to be around.
Listen, birds of a feather flock together, man.
True.
And you know, the one big thing that you said that resonates is you know, coaches. Mm-hmm. You know, there are people out there. You get, you know, some of the top athletes in the world. They have coaches.
Yeah.
You know, some of the wealthiest, most successful people in the world have coaches. I mean, you look at the president of the United States and the cabinet; it's just full of wise coaches that are pushing these people to be the best that they can be. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize that they're missing in this life, and it's the unapologetic attitude that you have, that you've brought to the table. That's like, hey, listen, we got our buddy Sean Whalen here who's figured it out and is applying it, and he's giving you these resources. Like, why aren't you, where are you at?
Yeah.
Why, you know, no excuses.
Well, dude, I thought coaching was stupid for a long time because I had a massive ego. Like, who's going to tell me, right?
You have to get over that.
You got to get over
get
that.
ahead.
Well, then you step back and you really look at it, and you know, if Tiger Woods' swing goes sideways, he doesn't just start swinging harder. He goes to somebody who's smarter than him, and he's like, here's some money. Tell me how to fucking get my shit back so then I can go make more money, right? If you're a business owner and your business is floundering or not making money, or you're stuck in that hamster wheel of living paycheck to paycheck, you got to fucking change something. And this is something that people are so resistant to. And I was for a lot of years. And when I hired my first coach, it was like, I didn't know how to not be angry. I was angry at everybody. I was angry at the world. And really one night, like, I almost blew my brains out. And I woke up the next morning going, dude, I don't know how to not be angry. I was angry at everybody. And I had somebody challenge me. I went to a buddy of mine who I respected, who was a mentor, a coach, and said, dude, help me not be angry. I didn't know how to do it. And I had to go through and do some hard shit. It was humiliating. It was, you know, not easy to do. But the results from that they saved my life and ultimately set me on a completely different trajectory. And so what I try and help people understand is, like, if I came to you, if I said to you, like, would you spend $50,000 to make $1 million? Of course you would.
Easy.
Right? But people won't actually do that because they have to invest the $50,000. But then the bigger part is they actually have to do the work.
Right.
And that's what really successful people understand is, like, I want to shorten up my learning curve on everything that I do. I can go to the gym for a year and try and figure out how to build a body. Or I can pay a dude to beat the fuck out of me for 60 straight days and then get there. Well, the cool part is everything that he just taught me in those 60 days, I now have in my data bank forever. Mm-hmm. And this is what people don't understand is, like, if I can show you how to shorten up the gap between my wife and I hate each other to, oh shit, this is how you build a great relationship, that's going to save you a divorce and save you 10 years of fucking misery, right? Mm-hmm. If I can show you how to take your business from $1 to $5 million in the course of a week, you're going to do that. You're going to want to do that. But this is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is I want to win more. Right. I want bigger. And so I look for the people who have that. If I want to start building suppressors, I just said, help me buy a tank. I want to buy a tank. I could go online and try and find where I can say, hey,
do it.
I'll just hey, I've got some money. Will you help me buy a tank? And you've already done it, so you can help me do it.
This is going to seem weird, but I'm the best tank buyer that you know.
This is why I literally said to you before we started this, I've got cash. I want to buy a tank. Help me buy a tank. Because you've already done it. You know the pitfalls.
Sure.
You were talking about getting fucked over and the whole thing. People got to realize, like, it's dumb not to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question other than the one you don't ask.
Well, accepting, like you said in your book, you know, being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Like, I think you used the example of someone going up and giving their first speech.
Yeah. It's terrifying, which is why you got to go do it. Like my buddy, I was talking to you about this, Johnny Primo, who's ex-special forces guy. He's a fucking badass.
I know Johnny.
You know Johnny. You know, I hired Johnny and spent a lot of money to have him come spend 5 days in my house to train my family, right? Now, I can train my family and teach my family, but he's far more advanced than me.
Yeah.
And so the path of teaching my kids knife fighting and you know, all of these different things that we went through and situational awareness and all these other things, I just shortened up the gap of their learning curve. And so for me, like I'm in life going, who has the resources and the knowledge that I want and need to make me better? Mm-hmm. And then I exchange my, you know, literally invest my capital to obtain that knowledge, and that makes me smarter. That makes me stronger. That makes me a better businessman. That gets me a tank faster.
Path of least resistance.
That's exactly
really.
right. Yeah, that's why coaching is so important. Yet, so I mean, people will spend $100,000 to go to 4 years of college to learn from $50,000 a year people, and then end up going, "What did I do? Why am I here?" But I go to them and say, "Look, I got a group, and it's $400 a month." And like, well, I'm not fucking spending that. You just spent $100,000, and you're just as confused as when you fucking started, dummy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I can help you like get to a point of what you exactly want quickly. You know what I mean? But this is where people are in life.
Yeah. It's unsettling.
Well, you have a great way of putting it. And
Thank you.
I admire it's easy to understand, and I'm totally on board with that. I have also in my life deployed a little bit of a strategy of, let's say you're the head mechanic in a shop and a new guy starts out and he's got little experience. I promise you that guy that just walked in the door with no tools or experience knows things that the top guy does not
100%
know.
agree.
So I've always tried to look to everyone and think no one is below you and everyone knows something you don't know. And if you will take the time to listen to them, they will teach you something to make your life better.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
I'm going to start deploying more of your strategy into my life, plus keeping with mine, and then become a superpower.
Well, you got to learn, you got to listen. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
So
right.
few people want to hear nowadays. Like we see it in politics, you see it in like across the board, like in relationships. We don't fucking listen. We're not listening to things, right? We just speak and speak and speak and speak and speak. We don't ever shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we're not learning, because you're not learning when you're speaking, you're learning when you're listening. And so whether it's the janitor, whether it's the CEO, whether it's the CMO, whether it's the fucking delivery man, you know, there's things happening all around us. And when you really become programmed to observe and to, I'm like a sponge. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm a 42-year-old, 2-year-old. I'm just like wanting to, I ask why more now today in my day, like in my age, than I did when I was a little kid. Because I'm like, why? I want to know more. I want to learn. I sit down with a religious guy. I don't give a fuck what religion you are, a Buddhist, a Hindu. I don't give a fuck. Like, why? You know what I mean? Why do you do it this way? Why does this happen? Why is it? And I'm noticing in my own personal space, my relationships are better, my business is better, my mind is better, my body is better, my mental clarity is better. Kind of being that servant of saying, someone teach me something, and finding people, and really what you said earlier, putting yourself around the right people.
Right.
You know, you hang out at the water cooler with all the assholes, you're not going to be learning anything. But if you put yourself in the conference room and say, hey, let me schlep your water around, let me be the water boy in the CEO meeting, guess what? That's the best fucking place you can be.
Right.
Fucking listen. Be back there taking notes, delivering people's water.
Right.
I'm never beneath that. You know what I mean? And when you get to that place where you think you are, that's when you're fucked.
Well, what's the old saying? You have to learn enough to know you don't know anything.
Yeah. The more I figure out,
You know, once you get to that point, you have to have a little base knowledge, and then you can get a clear picture and see while you're building that, it looks very clear to you, and you think you know everything. That's how we all start out as kids, and then all of a sudden one day we wake up and you're like, dude, I don't know anything. I know enough to know I want to learn now.
Yeah.
I'm now ready to learn.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem we were talking about before with these people is, you know, their selfish pride is so infested in their life that they don't know they don't know.
Right.
And until they realize that, there's really no hope. And it's about breaking down those barriers. And I really liked what you said at the beginning of your book, where it's totally in line with all of this. It's, you know, hey, are you broke? If you're broke, it's highly likely your friends are broke too.
Totally. 100%.
You know, and that's like, that is the truth, because like I said earlier, birds of a feather flock together. If you're going to hang around sheep, you're going to be a sheep.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah. That's one of the cool thing about that reality is knowing that's the simplest thing to change. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see dudes at Venice Beach hanging out with a bunch of fatties. You notice the dudes working out at these gyms are all freaking muscleheads because they know that's where the most elite work out.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And so something that costs you nothing as a human being, I don't care where you are, I don't care who's listening to this right now, whether you're black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, is who you associate with and where you spend your time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You choose where you spend your time. I mean, and the truth is if your family are miserable assholes, you're choosing to be around them. You know what I mean? And it's really, really simple. If you really take kind of a self-assessment of looking and saying, okay, all my friends are broke, probably why I'm broke. All my family is fat. It's probably why I'm fat. The single simplest thing that you can do that costs you nothing is to start associating with different people. Yeah. I've never seen anybody at the gym, like you go in there as a total newbie and you go up to the dude that's ripped. I've never seen a guy be like, fuck off, get out of here. Like I know very, very, very successful people, and every single one of those people love to fucking teach. They love to share. They love to, we write books, you know what I'm saying? Like we share podcasts. You don't make any money off the podcast. Smart Water gives you some water, whatever. But like, if you stop and think about it, there's all of this knowledge and wisdom and people out there that you can go associate with. Now having social media, you literally can take all of the dickheads on your social media, get rid of them, and start following highly successful people. And guess what will happen? Like what goes into your brain, garbage in, garbage out, right? Power in, power out. Like you start associating, thinking, acting differently, and your whole life will change. And it costs you nothing to do. You don't have to hire a coach. You just have to humble yourself to say, okay, this avenue, these people are not where I need to be. I'm going to go over here and start hanging out with these people, listening to these people, absorbing these people, and naturally your brain changes. As a Man Thinketh is my favorite book written by James Allen, and he talks about your mind's a garden. It's going to bring forth something. And if you don't prune and trim and take care of it,
reap what you sow.
It will. And that's just how it is. If you look at people that hate their lives, like look at what they watch. Look at how they act. Look at how they talk.
Who they hang with.
They're fucked. You know what I'm saying? But you look at high performers, they speak differently. They carry themselves differently. What they read is different. What they listen to is different, right? You can choose to spend your hour commute in the morning listening to music, and I love music, or you could spend that hour commute putting good shit in your brain through podcasts.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And there is a dramatic difference between those two people.
Like the Speakeasy Podcast.
You know?
Let's not get
too ahead
full of ourselves here.
Dude, look,
but hey, we have had some great guests on, and this this will be hopefully a podcast. I'm sure it will help someone.
It will. Somebody listening right now is saying, okay, yeah, maybe you're an asshole. Cool, whatever. I don't really care, but it's true. Right? And maybe somebody is like, okay, I'm going to spend this hour commute here, or I'm going to stop going and hanging out with the fatties, and I'm going to start hanging out with the people at the gym that are lifting, right? And that's a simple choice. And I truly believe deep down everybody wants it. But, the saying is when the pain of the current situation becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when we change. And so when you're tired of being broke, that's when you're going to fucking change.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
It's like people aren't in enough pain.
Well, it's like the dickhead complaining about his wife, right? My wife's this and she's that. It's highly likely that you're also a dickhead too.
100%.
It takes two to tango.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Value in, value out, right? You made a point to talk about that, is how are you providing value, and then finding, like we just said, people that can bring value to you. It's really the only way to get ahead.
Yeah. My buddy Andy Frisella, I don't know if you guys know him or follow him. He owns First Form, which is a $500 million supplement company. And he has the MF CEO podcast. And I think he's done 300 or so episodes. And this dude makes hundreds of millions of dollars. He has the most insane exotic car collection, lives in a fucking glorious house, private jets, the whole thing. And he spent 3 years doing this podcast, teaching people like the ins and the outs of business, and not just theoretical bullshit, but sold no products behind it, did nothing. And like, you're talking about tens of hundreds of hours of content to help people do this. Here's how you scale. Here's how you hire. Here's how you fire. This is, the methodology and the ideology of success versus failure, the whole thing. And you look at somebody like that, and he put that out there, and he's not monetized. He doesn't make any money off that, right? Sure, it boasts the brand and puts you out there and the whole thing, just like, you guys are doing, just like I'm doing. But at the end of the day, when you really think about that, like, he's literally giving the marketplace just an invaluable content that could truly change your life, right? And the people that I hang out with are like that. They put out content. They share. They're always on social media. I mean, people think I get paid through social media. Facebook's never sent me a check. Instagram's never sent me a check.
Wouldn't it?
It would be great, right? But at the end of the day, like I realized that the more value I put out into the universe, the more value comes back to me.
100%.
And that's just how I choose to live my life.
Andy Frisella's he's a beast.
He's a badass. I love that guy.
I spent many years in the supplement industry, worked at bodybuilding.com. That's where I built my marketing career. Was there, as First Form began, and watching him grow, it's impressive. Yeah. Was it Legionnaires, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A Legionnaire.
But I mean, that dude started maybe like the listener listening to this right now. I mean, he was literally sleeping on a mattress in the back of his supplement store. Mm-hmm. The very first day they were open, they did $7 in sales. You know what I mean? He gutted that shit out. And that's not now you look at him and you're like, oh, it must be nice. It is fucking nice because I worked my dick off for this $500,000 Lamborghini, right?
Yeah.
But this is what people fail to realize is that he spent 20 years getting to where he is right now. And so I think part of the social media problem, if you will, or game is like we see the arrival, we see all these things now. People don't realize what I've built and what I've done over the last 5, 6, 7 years since my divorce, since my bankruptcy. They didn't see all of that work. I've shared it and talked about it, but now you see me driving a Lamborghini and you're like, what a fucking dick. And you don't realize what I've done over the last 12 years, you know what I'm saying, to get to this place where I can drive a Lamborghini or buy a fucking ranch or buy a tank. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, time's not, it's going faster.
Isn't it awesome how the people want to tax you more because of your hard work?
To tax me more?
Yeah.
Fuck all that stuff, man.
Not trying to get into politics, but it just made me think.
That'll bring you down.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. You're too rich. We're going to need to take some more of your money.
Here's the thing, and I hope people hear this and understand this. You have two choices of where you spend your time. You can spend your time worrying about taxes and all this other bullshit. In fact, literally last night, I went out to dinner with a bunch of my buddies, and we do this tip club thing. I don't know if you guys saw that. And I've got 12 buddies and I who went out to dinner last night, and we all tipped the server $1,000. So this server got, $12,000 last night in a tip. And this is something that we've been doing for the last couple of months. And we typically do $100 dinners, and we'll invite a bunch of people. And here's these servers that are getting, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 tips. And it's something that we love to do. We love to fucking do it, right? And what's fascinating is I take a picture and I share that, and people are either like, this is rad, and they emulate it and duplicate it, or they're like, you're a fucking piece of shit, da-da-da-da-da. But it was fascinating, literally just even coming up here, looking at some of the comments where people are like, oh, well, I hope you know that they're going to get taxed. And that's the difference between me and you, is I'm out there putting the value in the world, and you want to criticize the value or critique the value. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more worried about people like, oh, well, you make all this money and you're going to have to pay all these taxes. You're worried about shit you have no control over. I don't have control over fucking inflation. Yep. I don't have control over whether Biden falls up or down the stairs. I don't give a fuck what that guy does. I don't give a fuck about the government and all this other bullshit. Dude, they're going to take our guns and I'm more worried about getting my house in order than I am what anybody else is fucking doing. And we all know that at the end of the day, whether it's Red Dawn and the fucking Russians coming down, I promise you, like, you can try and critique how they parachuted down, just like you critique how I tip, or you can be like, yo, let's send the bat signal out. Who's showing up with the tanks in the game? You know what I mean? But it's just fascinating how people are so consumed with things they have no control over.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, get your fucking house in order, man. You worry about becoming a millionaire, and then you can talk about taxes. You know what I'm saying? You're worried about, well, if I make $1 million, then I'm going to have to, fuck you, go make $1 million. And then your set of problems will be radically fucking different. I promise you. You won't be worried about taxes. You'll pay an account and be like, handle my taxes. I'm going for 2. Now I'm going for 4. Now I'm going for 10. You know what I'm saying? I don't worry about that shit.
Easy response to a guy like that is, hey man, lion's not sheep. Quit being a sheep.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time.
A lion doesn't care about the opinions of a sheep either.
The taxes are brutal. And you've got to focus on the glasses half full, not half empty, and look at the positive. At least you made the money to be taxed on.
Bingo.
Right? Like,
yep. I've got a really good buddy of mine who obviously, we're talking taxes, it's tax season, and I got a buddy of mine the other day, and he sent me a message, and he's like, you would never be able to guess what I paid in 2020. And I love this shit. Like, I roll with guys, we don't give a fuck. Like, how much did you make? How much did you make? How much do you make? You know what I mean? How much did that cost? We don't really care. And I was way off. I was like, how much did you pay? I thought you pay like $5-6 million. He paid $17 million in taxes last year, and he said it was the best year of his life. This is a dude who literally just wrote the government a $17 million check. If you're writing, listen to what I'm saying. If you're writing a $17 million fucking check, you ain't worried about money, motherfucker. If you're worried about your 27% or 47%, this motherfucker lives in a mansion. He drives multiple Lamborghinis. He ain't worried about that shit. If I have to write a check for $1 million or $2 or $3 in taxes, guess what? I made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about and concerned about how to duplicate that 10, 20, 30 times over than I am what I got to pay Uncle Sam at the end of the year. You know what I mean? You talk to really successful people, and they're talking about growth and scaling. This is just like the same conversation about your relationship or this and the other.
Right.
You want to become wealthy? Wealthy people aren't worrying about that shit. They're worrying about how do I make more, build bigger. Yeah, I got to pay some along the way. It is what it is, but it's a mindset. It's a mentality.
Jeez.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Well, that makes my tax situation seem pretty meager.
This guy's crazy. He built a water company. He's got a water company, and it's just an incredible
What kind of water?
Incredible thing that they do.
Does he want to sponsor
Hold
us?
on. Let's talk about this a little bit.
I'll introduce you guys after the podcast.
So does he bottle the water, or?
No, he does water filtration systems.
I'm all about that life. I do
We
not
could
do the
be-
tap water life.
We could switch water 100% to filtered.
But that's the thing, man. If you're doing $500 million a year in revenue, you pay the toll.
Yeah,
it is what
that's
it
right.
is. But I promise you, I sit down with dudes. I have friends that we smoke cigars and drink whiskey, dudes that are very, very, very wealthy. And we don't talk about taxes and this and that and the other. We're talking about growing and scaling and how to serve more. And you think I'm kidding? Sit in a room with a bunch of very successful people, and they're talking about scaling and growing and building and their mindsets and their structures and how to grow, not like, oh, well, shit, this is happening on the back end. Like, pay somebody to do that, man.
Mm-hmm. Number one piece of advice that you can give our audience today with the current climate, lifestyle, the attitude in society, what do you got?
Tell the truth. Just tell the truth.
Solid.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't care what's going on in the world. I don't care who's fucking who, what celebrity's sucking what celebrity's dick. I don't really care about any of that stuff, man. Like, the quicker you get to your truth, the quicker you establish where you really are. Mm-hmm. And if you're hurting, say that you're hurting. If you're broke, say you're broke. If you're busted, say you're busted. If you're angry, say you're angry. If you're demoralized, say you're demoralized, because people are trying to build these, things, these empires on really sandy foundations. Mm-hmm. Like, when I went through my midlife crisis or whatever, it wasn't about the money. It was like, I'm angry, and I didn't know how to not be angry. And, I wanted to spin that, say, all right, help me build a business, and that'll help me not be angry. Help me make millions, and that'll help me not be angry. Help me, find some young pussy, and that'll help me not be angry. It was none of that shit. It was me getting down to what the truth really is. And the quicker you can get to truth, the quicker you can do an about face and build something different. It's polarity, right? The sooner you can get to what's really going on, what your numbers really are, what your hang-ups really are, what your addictions really are, what your weaknesses really are, you can make them strength. But so long as you sit there and pound your chest and be like, I have no fear, I'm fucking badass. It's like, bro, you can't even keep your lights on, man.
You got a lot to learn.
Just come to the table and be like, yo, here's where I'm really at. This is what's really going on. Then you can build something different. Then you can change and navigate and build a different course.
Truth.
Part of being
That's
vulnerable.
what the kids say, huh?
Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you guys
Love
listen to
Jordan Peterson.
He talks about it. He said the truth is the single greatest remedy to every ailment on earth. Mm-hmm. It's the single greatest remedy. I mean, you look at our 51% of marriages are ending in divorce, right?
Yeah.
We go in, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, therapy and counseling and all this other shit. And literally people go in, they've got a broken leg, and they go to the doctor and like, okay, my head hurts, because they're too embarrassed to talk about their broken leg, or they have too much pride or too much ego. And so the doctor fucks around with your head, gives you some pills for your head, and you're like, sweet, I'm going to be saved, I'm good. And you leave, well, guess what? Your leg's still fucking broken.
You're still limping.
And so then you're like, well, that guy was a quack, so you go to somebody else and somebody else. And the sooner you get to the truth and be like, my leg's broken, let's fix this fucking thing. Doesn't matter how embarrassing it is, doesn't matter how humiliating it is, the quicker you can fix it, then you can start running again. Mm-hmm. But we literally live in a day and age where we just fucking lie and lie and lie and lie.
Well, and the things that we're doing, we're building these habits with social media and creating these false lifestyles, and then also comparing ourselves to other people who put the best of themselves out there, right? And they're not being honest with themselves, and you know, honestly, like, I mean, I've fallen prey to it through social media. I know my wife struggles with it sometimes. She'll compare herself to, because she's an entrepreneur, has her own business, and she'll compare herself to other fit moms that are doing it and all these things. And it's like, listen, like, you can't do that. You know, you're just going to disappoint yourself constantly. Be honest with yourself. A lot of these women that are posting these things that they're doing, they're not really being honest, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I find that that's 100% right. You know?
Yeah. I think comparison's a good thing, though. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, like, I look at my body compared to somebody else's body, and I could feel like shit about it, but I'm driven. I'm like, how do I get that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I want a tank. How do I get this tank? How do I do, like, you know what I mean? Comparison's not bad, so long as you're moving forward. If you're comparing and saying I'm lesser, I'm looking at it saying you have something that I want. Mm-hmm. You have money, you have a business, you have a ranch, you have a tank, you have a skill set, you have a knowledge, you have a belief system, you have a faith that I like. I might not have that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I'm saying? So look, that's the beauty of social media, is there's so many powerful, dope people out there that are telling the truth, but there's also a lot of fucksticks that are completely full of shit. You know, some of these gurus that they coach and they life coach and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden, you know, they come out that they're getting divorced and our life has been shit for 2 years, but you go back through the last 2 years of their posts and it's like sunshine and rainbows and kittens and, you know, Hallmark pictures.
Exactly.
But compare yourself. I think you should compare yourself and look at somebody that's got something that you don't, and it's not a place of envy, but go to them and say, teach me, lead me, show me how to do that. Like my fitness trainers are fucking beasts. They're insane. They're crazy. I don't look at it and go, oh man, I'm a piece of shit. I look at them and go, dude, teach me that. Show me that. My buddies who own businesses, like, you've got 6,000 employees. I have 20, right? I don't look at it and go, I'm a piece of shit. I look at it and go, man, what skill sets does he have? What systems is he using to run that ship that I could take and put on my ship to make me better? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of, it's all a facade kind of a thing out there. Yeah. It's all surface level and kind of a lie, and I've always thought that's why my, like, personal social media kind of sucks, because I just post things I'm excited about.
Yeah, doesn't suck.
Like, suck.
I filled my truck with gravel and shoveled out into the driveway, and I was really excited about it, so I showed like a truck full of gravel. It's not really awesome, but like
that's your jam though. But you attract people that are into that vibe. That's truth, right? Did you have a truck full of gravel that you shoveled out in the driveway? Yes. It doesn't need to be like sexy or filter. You don't have to put a filter on that.
It wasn't sexy. It sucked.
You know what I'm saying? And there's tons of other people going, well, shit, he's driving a $150,000 tank and he's still shoveling fucking gravel. This guy, I want to fucking look at this guy. I want to learn from this guy. If you can do this and do that, like, what are you doing to be successful? And believe it or not, like, you're shining a light in the marketplace because that's truth. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the one thing I think people love about you, Mike. It's definitely one of the biggest things that attracted me to, you know, my love affair with you when we first met was just how.
No, it's true. Rich and I have a special thing.
How honest you are.
You guys need a minute?
Yeah.
Well, we work together. We'll find time during the day.
Truthful. He, you know, and I think that genuineness resonates in not just obviously your post, which was the example that you're bringing up, and that's just everything else, how you conduct yourself in these podcasts, how you conduct yourself in our live videos. And I think that is one thing that people love about you is just that honesty, that truth, and it is something that lacks in our society right now.
Maybe it's kind of sad compared to everybody else's, but I don't care.
Yeah, but it's real, and it's not sad. It's real. Like, I'd rather hang out with real motherfuckers who shoveled gravel out of their truck than some dude who's like, oh, look at my gravel in my truck, and then he's got 6 other dudes that do it for him. You know
I've got 50,000 followers, and that post performed better on his gravel post than my average did. So
I'll take 2 or 3 real motherfuckers over 500 fake fucks all day long.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
all day long.
Well, and it's like we just had him, Jack Donovan, on the podcast. You know, that circle. Mm-hmm. His circles are small, right? Mm-hmm. Very successful people, their circles are smaller in that sense because, you know, the larger it gets, the less genuine it is. At least that's what I gleaned from how he was explaining that, as far as like the tribal aspect. Like, you know, the bond within the group is much stronger when it's smaller
Right.
than as opposed to 1,000 strong.
Yeah. That's something.
Great viewpoints and insight on the Jack Donovan.
He's a badass
as well.
I love Jack. Jack's a good dude. I started reading his books probably 6 months ago is when I first found Becoming a Barbarian. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And what's really interesting is I don't know, I was buying a different book on Amazon and I saw that and I was like, this looks cool. I bought it. And then I went to Instagram to find him, and he had been following me. And so I started following him, and we started rapping back and forth. I said, I love your books, the whole thing. And he moved from Oregon to Utah.
Yeah.
We bumped into each other at a gym, and we sat in the parking lot after we worked out and smoked a cigar for an hour. I was like, you're my people, dude. Like, you're a good dude.
Nice.
But his whole philosophy around savagery and violence and all this sort of stuff, I'm like, we're saying the same thing, man. He's a good dude. I like Jack. Great author, too. His books are phenomenal. If you haven't read his books are fucking brilliant.
He actually said that they teach it in some branch of the military.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
He's worked with a lot of really high speed guys that adopt his, or their philosophies are in line with his, which was the way he put it was a huge compliment to him because he felt like, oh shit, what I'm doing is pretty legit.
Well, really great author people that have a good command of the English language like yourself that can put it into very simple terms that everyone can understand. Yeah. It's very easy to digest by a lot of people.
Yeah, and what I loved about his books is the way that he talked about the man, masculinity, and what it really is. Because I think inside of all of us, we think these things, we feel these things, we talk about violence, we talk about hunting and being a provider and ravishing our woman and the whole thing, but we've neutered that conversation. And I read that book and I was like, bro, I like that shit because that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly what I'm building. And naturally we like hit it off and those are the people that I have conversations with. Those are the people that I roll with. We're talking about that stuff. We're talking about owning that. And
their value is bringing you value, which in essence is building you up and making you better, which I hope that's if there's anything that our listeners can gain from this episode, it's that, to audit those who are around you and start making changes. Right. And, a good start would be to get into your book. I definitely got a lot of value out of the core 4.
Thank you.
That system is immediately as you were breaking it down, I was just looking at the different, weaknesses in my own life and was like, how can I restructure this to make it better? One thing that I used to struggle with a lot was the overworking myself and not spending enough time with my family. My
that's a killer.
3 little girls, yeah.
Yep.
And I realized that if you don't invest in that, you don't make the choice, you don't value that, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And you end up allowing the excuses to take over.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you missed out on a year of your child's life.
Right.
And that just sucks.
Well, that goes, we could have multiple hour conversation on that. That goes down to, how we were programmed, right? And you think about the work environment being men, like we're supposed to be helping everybody and doing everything for everybody. And so the average dude goes into an office or works and he's trying to work and this guy comes in and then that guy comes in and then this call comes in and you do like a pretty half-assed job because you're trying to multitask 20 different things. That's what I did for 15 years. Corner office CEO, I was trying to head down and work and an employee would come in, and so I'd sit and talk to him for a half an hour, and then this guy, and then that guy, and at the end of the day, I was the one, running ragged. And I realized, it's the same philosophy around dating, or women, or your wife, right? Your wife's not looking for you to spend 8 hours a day with her. She's looking for, 30 minutes of unobstructed quality time, right? But we don't do that because we're on our phone or we're over here or over there, and it's the same thing with work. Like when I'm in work, I get more done in 2 hours than most people do in 12. Because when I'm in work mode, unless the house is on fire, don't fuck with me. I don't answer my phone. I'm not on social media. I am dead on, map drawn. I'm going this direction and that is it, right? And it's the same thing with the gym. I mean, how many times you've been to the gym or you're working out and
focus.
50 people want to come up and talk to you. You've been there for 2 hours and you haven't even lifted weights yet. I put my headphones on and I know you want to say hi and that's great, but catch me afterwards because I'm here to fucking work out,
I've never been to a gym, not since high school.
Yeah.
No.
Mike's gym's out in the woods cutting down trees.
Yeah, you just reach them from far, far, far distance. They don't even know that you're there. But I mean, that philosophy is something that is missing, in my opinion, from masculinity, is putting yourself first. Something that I very firmly believe in is we need to be more selfish. We need to put ourselves first, because I can't help my family, right? If I can't help myself. I mean, if you want to help the poor, don't be poor. You want to help the needy, don't be needy. I've got to get my house in order, get my finances right so I can help other people, right? I got to get my mind right so that I can be a good dad and be present and do all these things. So I'm very selfish with my time, but I get way more done that way.
We just talked about that with Jack, actually. You know, you go and I think, Mike, you brought it up. You walk into a library and you can find 1,000 books on self-help for women, but there might be one or two for men. You know, we're just taught to suck it up, bottle it up, deal with it.
Well, you have to have a little balance to get what you need so that you can help get other people what they need.
100%. Yeah.
I went through a health crisis a couple of years ago. You know, I spent most of my life pretty fit, competing in sports, competed in bodybuilding, and then kind of went down a dark path, and my health just went to shit. And, you know, I was making a lot of excuses, and it wasn't until I did a self-audit and realized it was that attitude that led me to that.
Right.
You know, in my situation, it was hormones, you know, because of my lifestyle, my diet, my, you know, work habits. I wasn't taking care of myself. I just had that bad attitude, and then my hormones took a dive. And when I went in and got some work done because someone told me to do it, I realized my testosterone levels were like that of an 80-year-old man. And it was terrible. And the doctor was like, "You're 30 years old. What is wrong with you? Like, you need to, like, what is going on in your life that has brought you to this point? You know, no sex drive, the whole nine." And then I realized after, you know, getting back on track that, you know, the conversation with men, it's super taboo. You know, people think, specifically with hormones, you know, they think Mark McGuire, and that's cheating, and you shouldn't take care of yourself. Whereas the flip side of that for women have a very complex system, right? But it's a super important conversation that's had throughout their entire life, all the way up into menopause. And, you know, I think men need to start thinking about that too, as far as their health is concerned, that there's changes that are going on in your body, in your endocrine system, that if you're not aware of it, you're going to end up getting testicular cancer or, you know, some of these other things because you've had the wrong attitude about it. And the next thing you know, you got a foot in the grave.
Yep. High tide lifts all the boats. You want to help people, help yourself first.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yep.
Man.
Well, that was
a good warm-up. What do you guys
want
to
talk about? That was a power hour.
What should we talk about?
We're going to have you come back on.
I'm in. Let's do it.
I'd
would love
stay
to.
for a 3-hour, but Marcus would kill us.
We'll get some cigars and some whiskey next time. I'm in.
Mike likes Jack Daniels.
Yeah?
That's really the only thing
I'm
he
a
drinks.
simple man.
I love it. I love really, really, really good, expensive Japanese whiskey. As an Irishman. I don't know why.
See, I can't tell the difference in it.
Yeah, you can.
You fire some Diet Coke into that.
You know, I'll bring you some really good whiskey next time, and I promise
Change
you,
my life.
it'll change your life.
Jim Staley brought some the last time he was on the podcast, and I tried it. It was delicious.
He drinks bougie stuff, too.
Yeah, he
I didn't try it. It was Japanese, though.
Yep. I'll bring you some really good Japanese whiskey, and it's not even the same. Not even remotely the same.
I'm willing to.
Let's do it.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not afraid to admit that, and I'm willing to learn.
I love it.
Okay, so
You
Sean
teach me how to
Whalen
drive
on
the
Instagram.
tank.
Yeah.
I'll teach you how to drink good whiskey.
We'll have the whiskey after.
Done. Before.
Before.
Way more. We'll just keep the cameras running. I promise you we'll get some good content.
So Sean Whalen, right?
Yep.
All one word?
Yep.
On Instagram?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Google, the whole deal. Not hard to find.
Yeah, and then trickle down from there, lions.sheep.com.
SCAN or
SEAN. WHALEN. Yep. Lions Not Sheep. We're all over the place, man. If you're on the interwide webs that Al Gore so graciously invented for us, you can find me.
that was awesome of him.
It was so nice. I mean, he's out saving the trees and building the internet. It's
Quickest route would be just to go to your Instagram, hit that link tree in your bio, and then find all the goodies. That's how I did it.
Yep.
It's easy.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Happy
This is
Monday,
great.
Ted.
Thank you very much.
52 or 7 people.
Yeah.
We're
God
killing
bless
it.
you.
Guys, go give Sean a follow and check out his book. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Thanks for listening Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your home slicers.